Hey guys, we are live. This is Jennifer from the Shooter's Mindset. We're live with episode 367. Got our co-host here, Greg Cannon. How's it going tonight?
Hey everyone.
Sorry, it's not the Rona, I promise. That was after SHOT Show. So I'm good now. Our guests of the hour, because nobody really wants to hear me and Greg talk. We've got Brad Wright and Nick Kitlicka from Leupold. How's it going, guys?
Going great.
Going super well. Yeah.
All right. We'll go ahead and jump in. And I want to start out with Nick and Brad. I want you each to one at a time, not at the same time. For anybody that's unfamiliar with you, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the shooting world, as well as how you got into your roles that you currently have at Leupold.
I'll go first. I'll pull seniority on Brad since I've been here longer. Let's see. I've been working at Leupold for 15 years now. So it's funny. I didn't actually grow up hunting or shooting or doing anything like that. Graduated college and just had a buddy that I was my roommate, and he got an entry-level job here. I didn't like the job I had, so I was like, oh, yeah, I'll try it. So I just got an entry-level position down the warranty department, and which was a cool way to learn about the company because I could see all the different types of product coming in into the warranty area, the scopes, the binos, spotting scopes, everything in between. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I started working in the custom shop when the custom shop kind of first started and started taking off. Did that for a few years. Then I went to the sales department, came back and ran the custom shop for a number of years. Then went to the marketing department, writing some copy and doing some stuff like that, some creative stuff, photos. And now I'm the shooting sports marketing manager in. So I've kind of worked multiple places within the company. I get to do the tours here because I know the manufacturing side and the sales side and all the different stuff. So
you could basically like just run the company now.
No. You could not. Don't stick me over in accounting where I have to do numbers and stuff like that. You don't want me doing that. No, it's it takes a huge team. I mean, we have over 700 employees. So, but I am collecting as many jobs as I can throughout my career here. So we'll see how many more I go with. And then let's see. I started shooting precision rifle probably 3.5 years ago. It's just I went to a couple matches that we sponsored and just to check it out, and I got hooked after that. I've been shooting pistol and carbine and stuff like that, but got really hooked on the long range stuff, and that's kind of my focus now. So let Brad chime in here.
Yeah, so I guess I came around to Leupold in a conventional or I don't know, conventional way, but so I was in sales outside the industry for years. Always been in outside sales, and I actually met up with Nick just by happenstance at Gap Grinds. What was that, like 19?
19, I think. We were squatted together. Yeah.
20. Yeah. Anyway, we were squatted together and didn't even know we worked for Leupold. And sat down. We got backed up on a stage and started talking and sharing some war stories, and then. I was like, so what do you do? I ended up telling him, what I was doing, and I said, what do you do? He's like, oh, I work for Leupold. And I was like, what? That's a thing? Like you could like do this for like a living, And so anyway, we just started talking and with my sales background, and he's like, hey, funny thing, we're getting rid of or they're making a transition from the rep group that handled Leupold across the country to having all in-house sales reps. And it just so happened that the job posting was basically the next day, and I applied, and the planets aligned, and I'm here. So super, super lucky. I don't know how I got this lucky, but that's basically how I ended up at Leupold. I cover Tennessee and Kentucky, just dealing with all our dealers and our authorized retailers. And then lucky enough that Nick lets me, carry his luggage every once in a while at some of these matches, and I help out with the PRS stuff. It's been super fun. So that's kind of where my heart is with the PRS. I started, I don't know, probably 3.5 years ago. But I took a couple classes at K&M before that, and so on. And yeah, I just love it. I wish I could shoot. So.
I keep trying to find which gun company needs a nurse, and nobody's bit yet. A nurse that has experience in regulatory. I mean,
Never
There
know.
are people that need regulations people though.
I can handle regulatory bodies. I do it like on a regular basis. So
There you go. I think that's transferable. So
I think
Yeah.
so.
You can take on the ATF.
I have management under my belt, regulatory affairs. I'm a nurse, so if you die, I can save your life. I mean, I think it's useful.
Nick will write you a rec. It'll be great.
yeah,
Nobody's
we
biting on it.
we just got a squad together at a match, and then you're in. So
then
apparently
I'm
that's the way it works. with Brad.
Yeah, Nick just became the most popular person at every match.
Yeah,
Because that's how you get a job at Leupold. Just squad with Nick. He'll take care of you.
Yeah,
His
get a look at
inbox
practice games.
just blew up.
If
They're
you're-
like, he's our way in. We need to message him.
Mm.
Everybody. It's funny whenever a post goes up from a company that is looking for someone, like all the comments immediate. It's pretty quick. It's kind of funny. But I think it's funny, Nick, that you started working there before you started shooting, because I think we all think like, oh, they work for so-and-so, they're a shooter. And everybody in all the companies is not shooters. I think
No.
the people that are like developing, most of them are, because they want shooter input for doing it. But a lot of the people that are, for working for companies don't necessarily shoot, and they get introduced to shooting through the work. I've seen a lot of vendors have at Gap Grind, they have the
419.
So I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we got 700 people. So if you work in a sales or marketing capacity, you definitely have to be a shooter and be into it. But if you're working down an assembly or on the shop floor, or a lot of those people don't have a context for what they're doing. They're not into the shooting part of it. So, but for me, I grew up playing every sport and was super competitive. And I skated and snowboarded and yeah, I don't know. It just melded into what I like to do. And I'm mechanical. I like building stuff. So the first gun I got a 1022 and tore it apart, and then built it back up with custom parts because I wanted to see how it worked. And then that was just the snowball effect from there. So yeah.
That's funny. Y'all are getting all kinds of love in the comments section on the live feed on Facebook, by the way.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Greg, I don't know if you want to hit any of them. There's been a bunch of.
We love our Leupold family, so we appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that when I started shooting precision rifle 3.5 years ago, that to me, the community was the biggest thing that stood out. Just like the people who came to the match, and like everyone who's like super, and I take it with a grain of salt because like I'm there for Leupold, obviously, and they're probably going to be nicer to me. But I would witness people being nice to just new shooters showing up, giving them gear, being super, inclusive. It's just the community is really what makes this different than other things. So yeah, that's cool.
So over in the comments section, we got Swanee saying hi all, Chad saying my fam, Ashley Wink saying hey y'all, Swanee quoting Jen, if you die, I can save your life. Adam Limburger said, thanks for all you do for the sport. Leupold has a stack of product on the MDT Bomber Room prize table. It was epic. Francis said, Nick and Brad, hey dudes. Aaron Hip said, your sunglasses are all I wear now.
Those were awesome.
So like, I'm kind of a sunglass snob. Like I've been wearing the same sunglasses for the last decade. And I put those things on when I tried some on. And I was like, holy, these are nice. So they are super awesome sunglasses. Kenneth James said, looking forward to running a Mark V this season. Randy said, sup, Greg? What's up, Randy? Chad says Nick plays the drums too. You play the drums too? You do everything.
Yeah, I played the drums. I played the drums in high school in some bands, and then I didn't for a while. And then 5 years ago, I bought a set and started playing again. So just a good way to relieve stress. And yeah, so I got a lot of other interests. Yeah, so too many hobbies.
I always wanted to learn drumming because you get to beat things and no one looks at you weird for it.
Yeah, if you're frustrated from a day at work and come home, it's a good way to relieve that. So
I'm just thinking, I need to learn this.
There you go.
You need a set for your office.
Yeah, I'd get fired. I would get fired. I just have a damn it doll for that. If y'all seen those, they're cute little dolls that you can beat on the desk. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about Leupold and how they got their start and how it evolved to what it is today, because it's kind of, exploded and is now everywhere. So
Yeah, we're started in 1907. I don't know, what is that, 100 and what are we, 15, 16 years, something like that. Can't do math off the top of my head, but we've been around quite a while. We actually started off doing surveying equipment. If you go and look at an old surveying transit, it's actually a lot like a scope. It has a reticle in it and it focuses, and that's how they would plot out the lands back then. So we did that for a number of years, and we were the first ones on the West Coast to manufacture transits. And when there was a lot of building and industry starting up on the West Coast in the early 1900s, so that was super successful. We did a number of other things too, like other instruments. One of the coolest ones we did was a water level measurement instrument. So back in the day, you would have to send someone out to the reservoir, to check the water levels, right? We developed this system where you can monitor it over the telegraph wires. So there was a sensor in the water, then it went over the telegraph wires to the office, and then it printed out on like one of those looked like the earthquake thing, seismograph, whatever, Yeah, it wrote it like that, like Greg did. So it wrote out like that. So we had a bunch of inventions like that, all the way up to, I would say, the 40s, early 40s. We started looking at scopes. A lot of the people in the family hunted. So, and going from transits and stuff like that, the scopes was a natural transition. The story goes that Marcus Leupold, the son of Fred Leupold, who founded it, was out hunting and his scope fogged up. And he was like super pissed and was like, I can make a better scope than this. I got the engineers. Let's do this. So I think in 47, we came out with our first scope. And then it just took off from there. The scope side was definitely smaller than the instrument side of the business up through the 60s and 70s. But then, the scope just started to dominate. We sold off the instrument side of the business, and obviously Leupold Optics, as you know today, that's all we do. So yeah, it's a cool history, and we're still family owned, 5th generation. So that's really cool too, to be able to work for a great American family and company like that.
And we still have family that works for the actually works in the company. So we had 2 direct descendants of Marcus Leupold. So
yeah, they're actively involved. We have a family council that still conducts quarterly business reviews and stuff like that, a board too. So I think the percentage of businesses that get to the 5th generation family owned, I mean, it's like less than 1% or some small percentage like that. So we feel pretty blessed.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
So in the history of our entire show, and this is episode 300 and what? 367. That is like the best. Where did your company come from? Answer I think we've ever had.
Well, now you're just being sweet. You're trying to.
That is pretty neat history. I love, my daughter's a historic preservation major, and she loves history and how we became, what we are as a people, and what, how things evolve and buildings and objects. But I always think it's very cool to look back at the old companies and how they evolved. And so y'all have kind of evolved with the needs of, what is out there. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's really neat, and it's awesome to work for a company that is an American manufacturer too, and has always been an American manufacturer. So that's a really special thing. Like when you can take pride in the thing that came out of the factory downstairs. It's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
My very favorite thing that y'all have ever done, and really that anybody has ever done, is when y'all chopped a scope in half and had it at the match, and we could go over and pick it up. Because I think we all look at scopes and we're like, oh, cool, it has good glass. And we think about the glass being, the front and the back, glass that you can see and that you have to, that fogs up and you have to clean. That's what, I guess maybe I'm just naive. That's what I had always thought about. I knew there were things on the inside, but I never realized how extensive it was in there. And so they literally had a scope that they chopped it in half and had it laying there so you could pick it up and see all the different lenses that are inside, and how they, slightly bend to, right? Don't they slightly bend to change the.
Well, the curvature of the lenses, and they're moving closer together, further apart from the magnification. And yeah, it's seeing all that cool stuff on the inside, because you're right. Like, you can take your rifle apart and you can see all the components, and rifle technology really hasn't changed that much, right? Like how they function. But the scope is this magic thing that sits on there, and you can't take it apart and see what's going on the inside. So, what's that?
I bet you I can.
Oh, well, that's true.
I just can't put it back together.
Yeah, you'd have to send it back into the repair shop.
Yeah, I just get a box full of parts with a sorry note in it from Greg.
Told you I could take it apart.
Yeah, I called you bluff. No, but I love taking that cutaway out, because yeah, it just blows people's minds how complicated it is in there. So
I'm definitely a show me how it works kind of person. So
yeah.
One of the cool things about that cutaway, and one of the reasons I take it to every match, so if I'm at a match and you want to see it and I don't have it out, come ask me, because I'll be happy to show it. But it's all the fine little details. And Nick, if you want to talk about like the even the threading on some of the like castle nuts holding the lenses in, and like some of the extent that we go to produce that, a Mark V or a VX6 or whatever, even down to the Freedom, on how we go into making each individual component to make it that lightweight and that rugged. There's a lot to it. So
yeah, it's cool to see how the scopes are all threaded together. We use threads to put everything together. We don't really use adhesives or anything like that, because glue is going to fail at some point in time. And these scopes are made to last a lifetime, right? I mean, there's still Leupolds out there on rifles being shot from the 50s and 60s. So everything's mechanically threaded together. That's why we can take them apart to work on them, put them back together, and that kind of stuff. So it's super. I still geek out every time I see a cutaway of the scope, and just kind of blown away at the level of engineering that goes into it downstairs. So.
And how thick some of the lenses are. I don't know that I realized just how, thick even inside there are lenses that are much thicker than I.
Yeah, and that goes to our optical. We have an optical team, optical PhD engineers, who they design all those optical prescriptions from the ground up. And yeah, some of them are doublets where it's two lenses glued together, or, a convex versus a concave, different things, doing different stuff inside the scope, to maximize that image coming into the scope to the shooter's eye. So
you can get a PhD in optics.
You can.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
could
go to school now.
This guy cannot. No.
This is why I'm in marketing and he's in sales, because there was no chance in hell that we were getting PhDs in optical engineering. So yeah,
we're the dumb guys in the company, but that's.
But no, just say you're the fun guys.
Fun, dumb, whatever.
It's a fine line.
When Nick talks about, our optical engineers, they are our optical engineers, like in-house in our facility. They're, work for Leupold. So there's a lot of, same thing as like made in the US. There's a lot of made in the US. It's not actually made in the US, it's assembled or whatever. When we speak about our engineers, they're Leupold employees. So that's kind of what separates us a little bit, and what makes us unique.
That's awesome. So y'all have really kind of been known as a hunting scope for a long time.
Mhm.
And then, I have one of y'all scopes for 3-gun, but y'all didn't know that, did you?
I did not. No.
Anyway, I actually won it off the prize table. It was amazing. But when I shot 3-gun at the Lady 3-gun, because I think y'all supported that. But anyway, y'all have been kind of a force in the hunting industry with hunting scopes. And then a few years back, y'all just kind of made a transition and refocused on precision rifle, and really kind of came out and exploded. You came out with the Mark V HD, and now it's everywhere. I think that I think some little scruffy guy was running that at the AG Cup. Maybe he won.
Yeah, he might have won. I
He
don't.
might
Might
have
have.
won. I think he won the AG Cup.
He
Yeah,
might have won.
with y'all's scope. So what kind of made y'all transition over?
Just for some historical context, like we actually started making. We were the first manufacturer of a tactical scope, I would call it. That was in the 80s when even Vietnam era and early 80s, the military was still using hunting scopes on rifles, right? You think of the M40 or something like that. And the Army came to us and we're like, they wanted us to build what they called a jump-proof scope, meaning I could jump out of an airplane with it. It was, military grade. So our engineers went to work and came out with the Ultra, which is actually the predecessor to the Mark series of scopes. If you can find an Ultra scope out there, I will pay you good money for it, because there's a 10 power, a fixed 10 power, and a fixed 16 power. Those are beast of scopes. I mean, I would dare you to try to break one of those. Anyways, predecessor to the Mark IV. Mark IV comes along. That's a number of years, military contracts, huge number of them all over the world. And then the Mark V is interesting because it came about in a different way than its predecessors. So, the Mark IV and stuff like that, we had taken military contracts, we had designed a scope specifically for that use. With the Mark V, we took those learnings and we made a scope that was not driven by a contract, but driven by what's it going to take to build the best scope for precision shooting, F-class stuff, and is it still good enough for the military to use it? So that's how we landed on the Mark V. And funny enough, we come out with it, and then the military is like, oh, that we want that actually. So it's won the Mark 22 contract. That's the new Army sniper rifle system with the Barrett MRAD, and the M110 refurb is going from a Mark IV to a Mark V. Some other stuff in the works. So it has been one of our most successful products we've come out with, and seeing it flourish in the precision rifle world, it really just brings a smile to my face, because you would show up again, like 3.5 years ago when I started shooting, I'd go to these matches and no one was shooting Leupold. Maybe there was one guy and then everyone would feel sorry for him or something like that. But now you show up and there are so many Mark V's on the line, and I'm just super happy. Couldn't be happier with it.
Well, Jose said that let me see, what was it? He said he fell down a hill, rifle tumbled away, landed on my MK5, did not check zero, cleaned a stage at 500 yards with a 12-inch plate right after it. And then Aaron Hipp, I think, is taking it as a challenge and says that he breaks everything he touches.
Well, Aaron will get to try one out pretty quick here. He's going to do a review for us, so he can beat it up and see if he can get it to break. So
they need to be durable, though. I mean, my first match ever at the Gap Grind, I was going up the stairs at K&M to that, where the mover is, where the stairs are. And my mother did put me in ballet for a reason when I was a kid, because I was a klutz. And I fell and the gun went between the steps. I don't know how I did not break my scope in half, but.
Yeah, they have to be able to be abused, right? You don't want to have to baby your gear, right? You don't want to have to be like, oh, I got to be real careful. I don't want this to, that's the last thing you want to worry about. You want to actually have to think about shooting the stage and everything, downrange. So yeah.
That's awesome. Chad didn't like that I said scruffy. I didn't say short. And I was joking, obviously, because Chad Heckler came in and rocked it at the AG Cup. Can't talk about him too much, because what was it that he wants to be called?
Was he the champ now?
AG Cup champ.
I think we just call him the champ.
We're not supposed to say Chad Heckler. We have to say AG Cup champ.
Yep.
With the Leupold.
We should have had him. Brad and I were talking when we were at SHOT Show. We were like, we should have him in the booth signing autographs, wearing the belt.
With the belt, yes.
Just the belt.
Totally done it.
We will next year.
A little bit more than
that.
that.
To work. That was awesome. Were you about to say something, Greg?
I was just going to read Missy's comments. She said, thanks to you guys for your support and commitment to our sport, and specifically your additional contributions to support the Tanner Boyholm Sportsmanship Award at the Barrel Maker Classic. It means so much to Ken and her. And it went away.
Yeah.
Well, man, like Tanner, that was a super awesome deal. Tanner was a super awesome dude. Got to shoot with him. Such a tragic loss to the community, and we were honored to do that, and that's always be a special place in our heart for that. And I'm not Nick, but I'll say we'll be supporting that again this year. So don't worry about that.
You can put those words in my mouth. That's fine. Yep. No, we would definitely support that again. The Wheelers are some of the best people that you'll ever meet. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
They are. Somebody asked a question about the difference in the two scopes, and now the comment scrolled.
Yeah, the question was difference between a Mark V and a VX5, I believe, if I got that right.
You don't take that one, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, so basically the big difference is the Mark V is a front focal plane scope, and the VX5 is a rear focal plane scope. There's a few different feature sets. Turrets are different. You get a little bit more elevation travel out of the Mark V. It's also made to do a different task. The VX5 is hunting related or hunting focused, if you will. So you're not looking at. I mean, while you can shoot that far, you're not looking at making 1,200, 1,400 yard shots all the way down to 100. So you're not needing 35 mils of elevation travel necessarily. So it's just a different focus. But the main difference is it's front focal versus rear focal. That's, I guess, the short story. And different reticle options too.
Yeah, your breakdown, the easy breakdown, if it has a gold ring, it's going to be optimized for hunting. If it's got a black ring, it's going to be optimized for shooting. So that's kind of how the line breaks out there.
That's awesome. Greg?
Oh,
I thought you were muted.
No, I wasn't sure if it was my turn or not. Sorry. Lots of lives coming in, trying to go through those. So is what you guys learned from the precision rifle shooters kind of transferring over to help you guys with the other scopes that you're making, whether it's hunting scopes or military scopes, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I love is going to the matches and talking to all the shooters. And when I go, I shoot too, because I want to squad with some people and hang out for 2 days and listen to them, what's working, what's not working. And that's part of my job here at Leupold, is to take that information and feed it back to the product line managers, so that we can start, we can make educated decisions when we're looking at features and new products and stuff like that. And then utilizing our pro team also. So they're a great resource for the product team as well. It was a small thing that we came out with this year, but like the speed dial, which Brad was initiated with some of the other team members, is just, it's a Mark V elevation dial with big numbers on it. And that's just, it's something shooters were asking for. They're like, one, I want to be able to dial quick. But two, as you get older, your eyes, have a harder time reading that smaller print on the dial. And some of the older shooters were like, this is awesome, because I don't have to run that stupid magnifier in front of the turret anymore, and I can see it. So just coming up with little tweaks like that, little solutions. And yeah, it's getting feedback. I always love getting feedback. I like hearing what we're doing wrong, right? Because that way we can fix things and make things better. So yeah.
And I think the other thing too that's driven from the precision rifle world into the hunting world is front focal scopes for hunting. Historically, Leupold's been a complete second focal scope for hunting for the most part, and you're seeing more of that transition. And so that 3.6 to 18 You're seeing more and more of that going on in the hunting world. The NRL hunter, it's doing really well there too. So that's another thing, we're looking at.
Mhm.
So you guys are, taking stuff from the matches and bringing it back home and then sharing it with everybody else. Are you guys seeing a lot of other crossover stuff that you kind of see pop up one year and at a rifle match, and then the next year it's like, oh, they're talking about this at the Big Game Expo or Safari Expo. That's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. The crossover is huge, I think, and becoming more apparent, and especially with, like Brad said, NRL Hunter and different events like that, people getting into the competition world and seeing that, I feel like shooting competitions is the best practice to be an effective hunter in the field. It kind of replicates that adrenaline going and, building solid positions and shooting accurately, right? Which is key to hunting. So, and getting practice. I would say historically, maybe hunters didn't practice as much, and they're starting to realize this is a great opportunity to practice my skills, get better, and you'll start. I've seen guys hunt and they're using, Armageddon gear bags, and they're using tripod rear support and all this stuff that's come from, the shooting world. And I think it's awesome. And there's great, and vice versa, right? And some people get started shooting competition and want to get into hunting, and then they got these guys at the matches that they get to talk to about, where to go hunting, how to do this. So there's great cross-pollination between both sides of the house. For instance, just as a cool thing the other day, Randy Newberg, he's one of our professional hunters that we sponsor. Him and the Lilies, Mike Lilly and Keeley, they met at a show and just started. They had like a 3-hour conversation talking about hunting and shooting together. So it was super cool to see.
And on the sales side, recently we had a major retailer, reach out to us, asking specifically about the precision rifle community and what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And I think it's one of the reasons, is that all the gear we use is abused and used, and just it's like tested to the nth degree. And so they look at it at that highest standard, and they also see the community growing. And so, this retailer historically hasn't been, focused in that, and they now look at us like to help them get into that market. So that's been really cool. There's been a lot of really cool things that have happened over the past year that, really show this precision rifle community, carrying over to different, avenues in the business that typically we wouldn't see.
That is awesome to see that we're getting that level of recognition, and people outside of our little niche community that's rapidly growing are noticing our growth. That's really cool to hear.
I think it has exploded. I mean, like y'all said, even down to the tripod use and game changer use, I think it's all really crossing over. I think for a while there was a curve of like, oh, they're just gamers using all that. And then I think they started, people started realizing like they're hitting a lot of targets that way, and trying some of the things. And I think it's really cool to see our sport then impact other things.
Well, even in the military, like, right. The guys at Twisted Barrel just did, Greg and Billy Don just did a training, I think in November, with the National Guard sniper team. And I think they spent like 2 or 3 days with them, showed them all kinds of stuff. Of course, they're like buying stuff on the line as they're showing them and all kinds of stuff. But I think it was the first time that they didn't have a single student or a single sniper fail the class or fail the qual, if you will. So they had like 100% after they took their class. It was 100%, graduation rate, that's pretty astounding.
That is pretty awesome. And it's funny the level of skill that just a little bit of competition will bring you to. Being at work and being known as the gun guy, you get people coming up to you all the time with all these questions, but this year a lot, it's been, I need steel shot 20 gauge. Where do I find that? A store? But I get a lot of hunters that they want to tell the gun guy about their awesome shot that they almost had, and it was a full 100 yards away and they just missed this buck. I'm like, I shoot targets 100 yards away with my pistol smaller than that buck. Not very good, but I could do it. But yeah.
And I think that's the importance of the community too. And that's one reason, that I advocated when we started going to these matches. They're like, well, sometimes there's only 100 people or 200 people. I'm like, yeah, but those 200 people are influential in their own circles, right? You're the gun guy at work, and now everyone asks you about your opinion on gear and what you run, right? That doesn't mean they're ever going to shoot a match or ever get into it like you're into it, but they know that, because he shoots these matches, he's pretty spun up on what gear to use, what's good, what isn't good, what I should use, that kind of stuff. So it definitely spreads out to a larger audience for sure.
Exactly. And when you go to the match and you get like free hats and stuff like that, and then you're just like in Walmart and people are like, oh, you like guns? I was in Lowe's like a couple weeks ago, and I ended up nicest guy in the world. I was in the plumbing aisle for like 45 minutes because he saw my hat and we started talking. And
awesome.
But yeah, I just wish some of these guys that are just missing their buck at 100 yards with a freaking 300 Win Mag would even come out to my little 22 match. Just come out to one match and let me like give you a little bit of something on how to shoot.
It's shooting's a perishable skill, right? I can't go out and start shooting 3-pointers and draining them, if I didn't practice it. So it's kind of the same thing.
It is, but I'm also amazed at how many people think that they can't. Like, they're like, oh my gosh, you shoot out to 1,200 yards? Like, I could never do that. And I'm like, yeah, you could. If you came and laid down behind my rifle that I set up for you, like, that's the easy part, And people are just so fascinated that we can do it. And I'm like, but the equipment anymore is so good. I mean, yeah, you might not be able to with, iron sights or, a gun that's not built for that. But with our equipment, it's always fun to take a new shooter out that thinks that they can't and put them behind a gun and let them hit 1,000 yards for the first time. And they're like, oh, wow, and it's easier than they think, right? Now, then they get into matches and the time crunch and position changes and all that. And it's a different story. But I mean, just the amount of people that think they could never hit something, an IPSC at 1,000 yards. They think that's impossible. And I'm like, no, it's really not. I promise you, with a little help, we could teach you to do it very easily. It's fun to see to me.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's fun to see new shooters light up when they hit something like that. So that's one of the best things.
Yep. So that kind of brings me into the next question I was going to ask, and I ask pretty much everybody that comes on this podcast this question. So I'm a big 22 shooter, and that's kind of exploding right now with the NRL 22, the PRS rimfire, and all these other things. Are you guys looking into that market? And, do you think we might see something that's all of a sudden going to show up on the top of rimfire rifles like the Mark V is on centerfire rifles?
We don't have anything coming in the semi-near future, so I don't want to promise anything, but we do talk about it a lot. The Mark V actually works really, really well for rimfire. I know one of the drags on it is on the Parallax, the side focus. 75 is the lowest, and most competitors want to be able to get down to 25 or so. The Mark V does have over travel on it. You can actually parallax down to about 40 yards. I know one of our pro shooters, Levi, who's one of Brad's buddies, has won a ton of 22 matches shooting a Mark V. So it actually works really well for that. But we are listening to feedback and taking some things into consideration, saying what is the next iteration of this look like. So yeah.
Don't forget about us rimfire shooters.
No, the rimfire is awesome because that's how a lot of kids get involved in shooting with families, and it's kind of a lower pressure, and lower barrier to entry sometimes in the center fire stuff, and it's more prevalent, right? Because you don't need 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards. You can have 250, 200 yards and make a difficult course of fire. So,
And it's big internationally. I mean, it's also a thing, talking with some of our international partners, about that's taken off, it's definitely something that we continue to look at, but like his point, you can slap a Mark V on there and be just fine. Levi certainly doesn't have a problem with it.
Boy can shoot.
That boy can shoot.
Prentice just commented and he said that they have 5 Mark Vs on their loaners at their rimfire match. And that's one of my favorite things about it. Like, I love, being able to invite people to come shoot. When I was shooting pistol, I literally, I had plenty of pistols and I put together a bunch of extra belt stuff. And it's like, here's what you need to come shoot a pistol match.
Yeah.
For a centerfire match where your barrel's going to last 1,000 rounds or 2,000 rounds, like, it's a little bit, you got to think about that before you say, here, take this and go shoot. But with rimfire, I have 3.5, almost 4 complete rimfire setups. And, when I run my match, I advertise, free loaner rifles, either give me a couple bucks for ammo or bring your own. And, I can say, here's a gun, here's your dope card. If you don't know what that is, okay, let me explain it to you. But, all ready to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, you Prentice does a great job of that too, and gets a lot of new shooters into the sport that way. So that's a huge asset to the community.
Yeah,
I think 22 blew up this past year too, with all the ammo shortages, and I mean, it was just easier to go shoot 22. Barrel life is better. You didn't have to try and find powder; you just had to find some 22 ammo. So I think it really blew up, and a lot of people tried it that had not. They were like, eh, and then they couldn't get components, so they were like, well, all right, I'll go shoot this match. And then they were like, that was really fun.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to continue to just bloom and grow.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So this is the point. Oh, go ahead.
We're at about the midpoint of the show, so I just wanted to kind of remind everybody, if you're hearing me now, you're watching us live on Facebook. This is going to stay live on Facebook, or stay posted on Facebook. Probably tomorrow evening, we will be posting it to all of the podcast platforms. So if you want to take us with you at some point in time, just subscribe to the Shooter's Mindset on pretty much anybody that has podcasts. We're on there, and eventually we will all end up on YouTube. So if you're looking for a good place to catch some of our older 364 other episodes, check us out there.
Yeah, that's a lot of episodes. I get to think about it. And then I'm like, I haven't been doing this long. And then I'm like, I've been doing this 7 years.
It's a lot.
I bet everybody's
Awesome.
sick of hearing my mouth. So let's talk about consumer optics in general. Like, what do you think is the biggest groundbreaking change to optics in the last few years? Whether it was Leupold or someone else, I mean, it doesn't, just in general, what's the biggest improvement or groundbreaking change that's happened in optics?
Well, you're seeing a lot more electronics involved, which is, some people like that, some people don't. But from a, technology standpoint, that's one thing that's really been cool to watch within the industry. I would say the level of optical design inside the scopes, and specifically for us, I mean, just you take a scope from even 10 years ago versus today and look at the difference, how it performs optically out in the world. And it's crazy the amount of performance that we've been able to squeeze out of that. And there's some other cool technologies too on the horizon in the lens realm that I can't talk about, but there's some cool stuff coming that's going to optimize it even more. So optics, I feel, has been one of those things that is really, I would say, in the last decade taken off, especially adjustment styles and reticle styles too. You look at reticles from 10 years ago versus now. You go from a mil dot to now we're shooting these super precise little reticles like the PR2, and it's cool to see that evolution for sure.
So what do you think like the next big ground changing or groundbreaking idea is going to be?
Brad, you got any ideas on that? Stall while I think about it for a moment.
Yeah, I'm not the cool guy in marketing that hears all the cool stuff at corporate. So, but yeah, I mean, they're always. I mean, that's one of the cool things about coming to work for Leupold is learning about all the awesome stuff that happens in the background. I mean, we're a huge ship, and it doesn't turn on a dime. But when it does turn, like when things come out, you're like, wow, like. Things have really been thought through. We have a team of engineers. It's all they're doing, just trying to push the envelope. And, there's always amazing things in the pipeline. So I don't think Nick's ready to plop out any awesome.
But yeah, I can't give any specifics. But I think what you will see just in general in the shooting world going forward is just more products that work in cohesion with each other. So that
I have an idea.
What's that?
I have an idea.
Okay, what's that?
Do I get a cut of the earnings if y'all do it?
Maybe you get
Glock wouldn't give me any. Well, they didn't end up doing my idea. I had an idea for Glock too, but they didn't bite. But for the optics, after shooting Mammoth and shooting directly into the sun at about 7 a.m. when I couldn't half see anything, you know how glasses have that stuff where you walk outside and it makes it dark, it like turns to sunglasses? Put that on the glass on the front, and then if somebody doesn't have a sunshade, when it's so bright, it'll darken it a little bit so that you don't get blinded and have the sunbeam directly boring a hole in your eyeball.
Or you could just shoot a Leupold.
I was going to ask if it was a Leupold scope or not. But
it probably wasn't.
It's not. Why? What does Leupold have that fixes that?
I would, and we're obviously a little biased, Brad and I, but
no, not at all.
Get your buddies together and take out the scopes and take them the mid-morning or take them in the morning when the sun's coming up over the hill and point them into the sun and see what performs better. I guarantee we've got some little tricks that we do, and it's not just optics, it's mechanical design within the scope that lets you control the light coming in, the glare control in there, and we do a phenomenal job at that. So I've seen some side by side comparisons that have kind of blown me away how much I'm able to see, even though the sun's coming straight into my eye. So
yeah, I mean, that's something that we do, like glare management and same thing as low light management training. We do often. We did it with the entire sales force back in June, and we had a wide range of optics, ours versus competitors, and basically it was the coolest place. It had there's a large hill that the sun was coming directly over, and you got to see it in the different light changing conditions. And I'll tell you, there were scopes that I thought would perform very well that I could not believe how early they washed out. And then also there were several scopes that you couldn't look through because of that blinding effect, if you will. It was bouncing off the internals of the scope, where the Leupolds, we managed that through all the different engineering, I don't know, different engineering stuff that we put into the scope, the
voodoo magic.
The optical dudes, super smart, way more smart than me, do. And it's just wild when you go through that and in the same lighting condition, you can go scope to scope to scope to scope and look and really see how it performs. When you take one scope and you look at something, and then 2 days later you take another scope and look at something, it's really hard to compare. But when you put them all together and you can literally bounce from optic to optic, it's amazing what you can do.
Here's another idea. Get an adjustable lens that can sit right in front of the turret so that those of us that are going blind can adjust it to our own eyes to be able to see it and not be blurry.
We fixed that too.
Than others.
Or
fix that too. You just need a speed dial.
Speed dial.
Yeah.
It's written in like 96-point font.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the point of this, Jennifer, is that you just need to buy a Mark V. I mean, and then all issues are solved.
As soon as I get 3 kids out of college, I might. Oh, them kids are good. They're cramping my style. So
Sorry. In the lives, at least 2 or 3 times, people have said something along the line of they need a mill reticle in their 15 by 56 binos. So that's been said so many times. I wanted to pass that one along. There you go.
Yeah, we know about that one. So we got something coming for that. So yeah.
So Leupold is always helping out with matches all over the country. Like we see y'all at Gap Grind, AG Cup. You sponsor a match for Prentice. Hello, Prentice. I said your name. You can stop commenting. You sponsor a match for Prentice down in Texas. So there's been tons of people in the comments just saying thank you for your support. So I think people appreciate not just that y'all send product to put on the prize tables. You do that. We did have a recommendation that you have prize table scopes that are signed by the AG Cup champ. Just saying. But
Was that from the AG Cup champ?
it actually was not. It was not. It was from someone else. But a lot of people have said thank you in here because y'all actually go to a lot of the matches and you're there. Like I said, with the scope cut in half, you have a table set up, and if people want to ask questions or find out about your scopes, I think people really appreciate that you're there and they see a face and they know y'all, and it just helps. Same with foundation. With the Truitts, people want to buy their stuff because they're there and they're nice and we get to know them. So I think people really appreciate that y'all are there. So all that being said, what upcoming events do y'all have that is really exciting?
Well, I just want to say I love hearing that feedback because I always felt like that was the way to approach this community. It was to be a part of it. Really, I mean, you can show up, and I've seen companies show up, but they aren't engaged in actually what's going on. And I was always a proponent. I was like, if I'm going to go to something, I'm going to shoot it too, because I feel like the community respects that more. And plus, I get a good basis for what works and what doesn't work because I'm using it myself. Plus, you get to hang out with really cool people. I mean, everyone here knows, you squad with a group of 9 other people, and by day 2 you're all like good friends, right? And that's how you meet people within the community. So I just love hanging out with people at the matches. Let's see, what do we have? We have Shoot with the Pros coming up. I think that's in mid-March. That's going to be a cool thing at Twisted Barrel. Kind of a get to hang out with some top level shooters, pick their brains and work on your skills a little bit.
I really hate I can't go to that and like cover it because I think it's gonna be such a cool event. So y'all have to take like a ton of pictures and post them on Facebook, or at least send them to me because I want to see, because I'm so excited about this event.
I'm excited. Super awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited too, and I think there'll probably be more of this style event, and having Tate and the crew put on something like this is awesome. Let's see, and then the next thing after that, I think, is I'll be going to the Koenig match there in Grand Junction. So that's I went to that last year and it was awesome. So I can't wait to see what they do this year. So, and I have a bunch of other matches that I'll be going to. Barrel Maker, the Wheelers, gotta know I'll be Barrel Maker this year.
We will definitely be at the Barrel Maker. We'll never miss it ever again. Well, I've only missed the first one, but that's it. We also got Pig River. That's another title match that we've got, which is the same weekend as the Lilies Inter-All Hunter match. So I guess those are the big. Oh, and Best in Texas.
Yep. Best in Texas.
Our other title match.
Texas too. Yeah. So and again, shout out to Prentice and Josh Bandy there at Pig River. Those are 2 ranges that not only do we title sponsor the matches, but we partner with the ranges too to make them kind of like official Leupold ranges. So they're great partners within the industry. And
Big River is a gorgeous range.
I mean, it's a gorgeous place. Josh runs a hell of a match out there. I mean, he's so put together. Everything is like, it was like, don't walk on the grass until like match day, you know, like everything's like super refined. So yeah.
And if y'all haven't made out to Twisted Barrel yet, man, that place is just coming along. Every time I go out, I was out there this morning, getting some rifles ready, and man, those guys are like, they're working their butt off, and that place is amazing. And every day it gets better and better. So there's gonna be some awesome stuff coming over there.
That's awesome. I think part of y'all's success, I mean, it's awesome scopes, but I think to get into PRS, if you don't come and like get to know the people will be like, I mean, because not that we're cliquish, but everybody has to vet things and trust them before they'll just go buy them. They're not going to just go buy something that they don't know. And so in order to really get into this community, you have to kind of become a part of it and become trusted, right? So everybody can be like, okay, we can trust him, you know. And until then, it's kind of hard to break in. So I think that y'all being out there really is a big reason why y'all have had the success y'all had in the PRS.
I think that, and then combined too with the pro team, like we have probably, I'm biased, but I think we have the best team out there, and not just racking up W's, but I'm just mean people in general. Like the shooters that we have are the type of shooters who give back to the community. They're going to take time when there's new shooters, you know, help them along. And they do us a huge service in representing the brand out at these matches when, you know, Brad and I can't be there. I know we're going to have a couple of our shooters, you know, there, and they're going to do a phenomenal job. And we just keep growing the family. So I'm excited for what we're doing this year with the team for sure.
Yeah, you guys do have a bunch of awesome people in your family. Clay Blackwater said, in case you guys are curious, he's gotten over the plague that you guys laced the jacket with, and he still wears it every day.
It was not us. It was not our fault. It was not our fault.
He's at SHOT Show and he blames me for getting him sick. Oh, come on.
Of course, it was obviously your fault. Hey, I got sick too, and I saw y'all. Maybe it was y'all's fault for that.
Well, yeah, but you didn't. We were at dinner and he was waiting for the Uber, and it was like super cold. I mean, it's the desert at night, and I had an extra jacket. Yeah, right. I had an extra jacket, so I gave him my jacket. So that's where that came from.
So he blames his Rona plague on the jacket.
So Nick, this is what you learn: no good deed goes unpunished.
Well, I'm glad he survived. I'm glad he's feeling better. So if it was me, Clay, I do feel bad. So yeah.
So speaking of wins, are there a lot of wins with Leupold Optics?
Brad, you're the stats guy, so.
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's quite a few. I'll say in the PRS, we were the most winningest optic, reticle, whatever you want to call it, in the PRS, was 16 wins last year. The next being 10. So, and then it drops off significantly from there. So, you know, I think, you know, numbers don't always speak, but that stat really speaks. It was significant. You know, a lot goes to the pro team. It's not all about the equipment, but it certainly doesn't hurt, you know.
Yeah, and not to mention top fives, top tens. I mean, there was
Right.
a huge amount of those too.
Oh yeah, I got that too.
Yeah, 16 wins. I mean, that's domination. And it, like, a lot of how these people came on to the team is, you know, they want to try out a scope, and I'd let them try a scope with no strings attached, because as top level shooters, you don't want to run something that's not going to make you successful in the field. And I want them to be confident in the product that they're running. So, but I think that's easily reflected in the W's there. So
those are some impressive stats. So we've talked a lot about the scopes, but there's a lot of other stuff. We had a Team Vortex shooter over in the comments talking about how awesome the sunglasses are a couple minutes ago. So we'll go back to those. Those are really sweet. You know, my little microfiber that hangs from both of my backpacks with y'all's name on it is awesome. I got my nice little dry bag. I think it's just like the classiest dry bag. Like, I've never seen a dry bag that has class to it.
that's awesome. Yeah, so Leupold's not like a lifestyle brand, but we have a lot of accessories that are kind of going down that path. And the eyewear is interesting because I was skeptical myself when we first came out with it, because I was like, sunglasses, like why are we doing this? But then, like you said, Greg, like I tried a pair on, and I'm a sunglass snob too, and I was blown away by the performance and how comfortable they were. So that's been cool to see. I do have to say it brings a smile to my face when I go to matches and see Vortex shooters and other shooters like that wearing Leupold sunglasses. I love that. But the other accessories we're coming out with are also there's a new Mark V tripod actually that's coming out. So that's a little tip there. What else do we have? We have there's some new jackets, the new outerwear, the Unrona jacket that, not the one I gave Clay, but you can actually get a new one.
Not the infected one.
Yeah, not the infected. Thank you.
Comes without the plague.
Yeah, yeah, without the plague. So there's a bunch of new outerwear on the website too. That's really like technical, nice outerwear as well. So our product line manager who heads up the accessory stuff has been doing a really good job.
They've done an amazing job. The jackets they're out of this world. Y'all really check them out. Like
even the t-shirts, like how they fit and like the material they're made out of. It's like, so we're a premium scope manufacturer and everything has to be premium throughout the line. So that's carried into the accessories as well. It's all about performance.
Do you have ladies cut?
We do. We have a couple ladies cut sweatshirts, t-shirts, and then there's some more stuff that will be coming on the site in the semi-near future. So
because so many times, like I go to the price table and when I get to the end and there's like stickers and t-shirts left and all the t-shirts are extra large and I'm like, I know I gained weight, but can we have some girl sizes on there, please? Yeah,
we did not forget about the ladies. We have ladies apparel too. So
yeah. Kent Rush wants to know if the outerwear comes in big boy sizes.
If the what comes in big boy size?
Outerwear, the jackets.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Kent's a big dude. 3XL. Yeah, I think there's 3XLs on there. So
yeah, there are. Yeah.
So backing up to the Mark V for a second and wins and everything, Ken Wheeler said there's something really important that you guys forgot about it.
Oh, damn.
That it fits perfectly into the production class threshold.
That's true, Mr. Production Class there. So yeah.
Big W, the big W this past weekend.
Got a W this weekend at MVT. Yeah, bomber run. Yeah. Shooting a Mark V. So yeah, it does. It meets the production class. I mean, and let's just not talk about production class. I mean, like when we talk about getting into a premium level scope, being able to get a Mark V 5-25 with a PR2 for $2,000, it's actually like the best deal value out there as well, I would say, in the premium scope world. So, but yes, does qualify for production as well.
So Jose wants to know if the Tan Mark V will be available to the general public.
No plans to make it public right now. Can't say yay or nay in the future, but I do not control that decision. I would, we'll see. So yeah, I want one. I'm trying to sneak one away and have them stick a PR2 in it, but they haven't done it for me yet. So
me too.
No. So yeah, those ones are military only at the moment. We'll see what happens.
I'm sure you guys can figure out a way to get like a limited, be like, oh, come on, 100 of them. Just paint it.
Yeah.
We don't do limited.
Yeah.
Warranty parts are real fun with that.
Yeah. When they got contracts to fill and then they're like, well, Nick wants one. They're like, oh, too bad. No one cares. Yeah.
Hey, I like these ladies things. I like the performance hoodie. I'm sorry, I'm shopping, y'all.
Oh, she's putting her list together. Yeah.
I was like, let me look at this. This is nice.
Every time I see Brad now, I tell him I'm going to steal one of his shirts.
That's cool. We have a trade-in program. I told you all about it. Right? You give me and I give you.
I give you a hat, you give me a shirt.
That's fine.
I got a lot of hats.
I got a lot of shirts, bro. I even got hoodies.
Wait, are you taking used hats for shirts.
Well, yeah, as long as they're there's stipulations to said trade-in program, but no problem. If I've got them at a match, just find me. I'll take care of it.
Greg, read the fine print, please, before you read anything.
Oh, I know what the fine print is.
Saying.
I know exactly what the fine print is.
I feel like you're making a deal with the devil.
It's a trade-in program.
Brad's been working hard.
Yeah.
Jeff wants to know when will the Mark V speed dials be available?
So we made 100 of them. They sold out, I think, in the first day on the website, and they're making more, I believe, next week. So
that's why you don't do limited edition, right? Because
it was just a small work order the first time they ran them through. So they're making more right now. So it should be soon. Yeah.
Kent wants to know what he could trade some cheesecake in for, Brad.
Kent Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, those I hear some. Well, actually, I had a taste at AG Cup, and holy moly, he can trade a lot for those things, man. His wife can cook.
Is that Mark V worthy cheesecake? You can trade some cheesecake,
bro. I'm telling you, it's good. Pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good.
I don't want to have you explain that to the bosses. What you trade.
Yeah, I'd try to figure out.
Just bring them a slice. Here you go. This is what we got.
I got some cheesecake.
Be like, but it was cheesecake. It was a lot of cheesecake. And by the way, I need larger shirts now.
Yeah, at like 7 a.m., Justin Watts comes in with a tray of cupcakes, and that's what I ate for breakfast, and then went into like a catastatic state or whatever, comatose. So it was really good though.
Pretty good. So what is new this year for Leupold? What's coming? What can we expect? Anything new breaking you can break on the show, products, or are there any new matches or anything?
Well, that new Mark V tripod that will be coming semi soon. That's really the big next thing that we have coming. There will be a lot of new stuff starting January next year. So like the SHOT Show reveal and stuff like that. There's going to be some cool stuff next year for sure. Nothing really in the interim that I can talk about at this moment, but we're always innovating, always working on cool new stuff. We're putting together our plans for what matches to be at and stuff this year. So just keep hammering with that Mark V with the PR2. It's there's some little tweaks that we've gotten some feedback about how to change that scope, but it's like 99% there. I mean that and it does everything that I think the precision rifle world needs it to do. So yeah. I don't know, Brad, anything else?
No, I mean you're the one that can talk about that. I'm just the sales guy.
Just the grunt.
Well, when you're ready to leak something, you can always call up your friends on the Shooters Mindset and leak it here.
Well, for sure. Yeah.
I really like my job. Like I just can't screw this up. Okay. So I'm biting my tongue off right now, but we always have awesome stuff in the pipeline. Our guys work super, super hard, an amazing team. So
that's what I'm saying though. When it's time to release it, just phone a friend.
Yep. I was over today in the engineering department. I like to walk around because they have SolidWorks up on their screens and they have different models and stuff. I was like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? So there's some cool stuff.
Oh, you guys get to use the good cat. I'm jealous. I miss SolidWorks.
Oh yeah. Come and tour your engineering department and be like, I'll sign an NDA. I'm just curious now.
Oh, that actually one thing I'm working on, just kind of that does pertain to the engineering and the pro team and stuff. We are going to have kind of a expert feedback. So getting the pro team involved in the products kind of making themselves. So kind of tightening that loop between the pro shooters and the product team. So that's one thing I'm doing right now. So, and you'll see stuff, down the road that it's going to help product along. Right. So I think taking those insights that our pro shooters have is super important in getting them face to face with those product line managers. So, yeah.
Are there any more lives, Greg?
Kenneth James' wife has already volunteered to cook for Brad when he comes up to Wisconsin.
My man.
He's excited. He just made his day.
Hey, fat guy likes to eat, man. I'm telling you.
We all like to eat. Any other lives, Greg?
We are good on the live side of things.
All right. Well, at that, I think we can wind it down to shout outs.
Awesome.
Greg,
you usually start.
Cool. I'm unmuted this time. I'd like to start out by shouting out to GSL suppressors. It makes my little 22 make real quiet little pew pews. Shooters and sharpshooters of Augusta, our local indoor and outdoor ranges. PDC Custom for the most beautiful rifle chassis known to man. They're available in lime green and other normal human colors. Shooters World Powder. It's been a while since I've shot center fire, and I'm just realizing you got to do that thing where you put everything all together again. But the good news is they have powder in stock, especially at Shooters of Augusta. So it's one thing that you don't have to like fight zombies or whatever to find. Hunter's HD Gold, because I'm super blind, and that helps out a lot. And Fix It Sticks, so that you can fix your pew sticks.
Fix your pew sticks. I'm gonna make you their spokesman for that. Such a good catchy thing. We'll go with Brad next. Do you have any shout outs, Brad?
And the only shout outs I got is the community. Super awesome year last year, rolling into this year. It's been super awesome. Everybody's been super welcoming, and, it's been great to meet, new people out there, and we just appreciate the support. Whether you use our stuff or you don't. I've had a lot of people come up to us and, just thank us for what we do, and we appreciate you. So that's the shout out I got.
All right, Nick.
Is that too cheesy to give you guys the shout out? Because I
go.
just appreciate you guys, being a great resource for information for shooters and stuff like that, and helping, build the community and stuff like that. So you guys get the shout out.
Well, thank you. That's what we want to do. We just, everybody's always like, what do you get for doing that? I'm like, well, not much, but it's fun. And I've learned so much doing this show and getting to sit here and talk and pick the brains of people in the industry. And, you learn a lot and make a lot of connections, which is fun. So it's very fun to do all of it. So I appreciate it.
I'll say the biggest thing I get out of doing the show is when both of these guys email me their cell phone numbers and in their email signatures. So when I would probably be like, hey buddy, so I'm out here at the range, and
call me anytime.
Yeah, we don't hide.
Nope.
It is nice to know people and different companies and be able to ask questions and all. But I mean, and we love getting it out there. Like, I know when I first started, I didn't know a lot. So, for people that maybe aren't at every match to be able to know all these things, it's nice to be able to get the information out to help grow this sport, because we want it to grow and keep going. And I want it to be huge. I want it to be on the Olympics one day.
There you go.
That's too much controversy. They could screw up a 2-car funeral, I swear. Anyway. Well, my shout outs are just to y'all for coming and spending 2 hours of your Tuesday night. I know y'all have other things that you could be doing, and kids and wives to see and all that, and you spent your evening with us. So we appreciate that y'all came on and did this. And I'm not kidding. If y'all have anything that you want to get the word out about, just hit us up and we'll get you on again to talk about it. And so we just appreciate what y'all do to grow the sport too. So
well, thank you very much. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was fun. We always have a good time. And with that, it'll be a wrap for episode 367, and we'll see y'all next week.